Well, I showed this before. It could be an indication of this predictive programming, right? So demolish the monuments, right? And I mentioned this before. This was like some kind of preview for something that Hollywood puts out. They showed a crowd of people, right? Demolish the monuments, right? And that's what's going on right now. And then you had a whole bunch of white people. You got two black people with their white umbrella, which to me signifies, protection, right? So I also mentioned, well, whatever. Now I want to put out that I know I put a lot of videos out amongst a lot of well, I put out a lot of topics, right? But I put out a lot of pro-Confederate videos like Confederate flag in World War II, which the Southerners fought against the Nazis, the Southerners fought against the imperialists in Japan. But I think eventually, it sounds almost ludicrous today, but they'll tear down the Iwo Jima monument in the future because there'll be a reason for that. I don't know, against Asians or something. I don't know, because they're going to do everything. Banning motorcycle patches, even the one I did about um, Judaism actually conquered Rome. Not the other way around. Which I got hammered on YouTube because I was being too pro-Jewish, but that's on the thing here. And now they got a new rule that if you don't have 1,000 views, you can't get it requested, even if get a manual review. But I'm going to say this on the other side. Um, Most of these Confederate videos, the advertisers that advertise on them, they don't. They're like, I don't know. They must be the leftover advertisers. So I don't really, they don't make no money. It's like it's not. Even, I'm not really doing it for money at all, because the which I don't want to say specifics, like, but it's just my experience that probably not the big heavy hitters like AT&T will put their ads on anything like that. It's usually like the lesser paying people, even when they advertise, right? Now YouTube is owned by Google, but really the YouTube is owned by is the advertisers, right? Now I'm going to tell you something. How this is like, and it's not like an all millennial thing, because I know I put a video out about millennials and Jeeps and why they don't drive Jeeps. I know some millennials drive Jeeps. Some millennials are hardcore. Some boomers from the 1960s weren't freaking hippies. They worked a lot like me, right? Um, but when I look at this, and like some people are saying, how come my college degree doesn't isn't cost so much? How come my college degree doesn't give me a good paying job in the future? Well, here's the part of the problem. When you go out there and you're Mr. and Mrs. College student, you rip down statues that have been there for 100 years, and you don't have a freaking clue what the hell the statue was up there for, except for what the major media told you. Um, well, you got no education at all, period. So that's why you're never going to get a job. And college is going to be worthless. You'd be better off buying a $100 welder from Harbor Freight and learning some skills in welding, for crying out loud. These people are going to be whatever. Anyway, screw it. But, it's whatever they want to emphasize. And I looked at, anytime, I'm not going to just say what happened here recently with Charlottesville, Virginia, whatever the hell it is. To me, I don't know. It was allowed to happen. That's what I'm figuring. But if any time the major media comes out in concert and propagandizes something, you can smell it's bullshit right there. That's all there is to it. Now, if they wanted to, like they could take like, oh, this black fellow killed this white chick here with the blonde hair in a heinous manner. They can advertise this left and right. They got loads of instances where they could do this, but they don't do it. In the future, they may. They may. Because what I think's going on is they are using. Well, I already can tell you right now, the elite are Caucasians. They're using the blacks right now. And when you look at, I'll drop you a couple dimes right here. The Black Panthers, which in some ways in the '60s Black Panthers I'd agreed with, but I don't agree with the new ones. But the '60s ones, because I see some of that stuff, but the once they got beyond what they were useful for, they got rid of them. You never heard of all of a sudden the Black Panthers disappeared, right? Now this is pretty much the way everything is. They use a group and then they'll get rid of them. Now, the ones that are actually the white people that are for these statues, they're against the controlling elite, and that's why the controlling elite are really against them. Um, what is going on is that it's corporate fascism. Now, I don't really support any of these big corporations anyway, pretty much. Now, I'm not bitching about these little freaking, but I just want to point it out to you, the audience, that, you know, inside of, as soon as this event happened, the advertisers called up YouTube and they went and they told all the freaking people that put anything out with a Confederate flag on it or anything that could possibly be anything, they went and, you know, took the limited ads out or some bullshit or whatever the hell they did. I don't know what the hell they did. This video is, I'm not even going to monetize it because it's just for your information only. But it's like, but on the other side of it, if you're a YouTube producer and you see this stuff, don't go freaking, it's not necessarily the lady that runs YouTube. I used to think it was her maybe, but it's not. It's the advertisers. Who the hell's paying the bills? Now, the advertisers are the big money corporations. And basically, they're the guys that Abe Lincoln represented, right? He was the guy that represented the railroads, right? That's what the hell the Confederacy was fighting, the big corporations, right? Really, that's what the hell they were doing. It was like the railroad was the big corporation at that time. They were sucking all the blood out of the freaking federal government, right? And you know, it's it's going to go. I think it's going to all go full circle eventually. Um, but I did, but every time this always bugged me too. Now Trump is actually coming out and saying some stuff about where's this going to end and stuff. But I'm going to tell you this: when all these people were jumping up and down like we won, Trump won, and I was like, yeah, you want to bet? I knew this was going to be coming up. I knew it. Um, it's like they're not going to quit, man. It's like but a lot of stuff is total propaganda. That's exactly what the hell it is. Even the slavery that existed in the United States, man. I looked at the Atlanta Black Star. I mean, they put out some accurate stuff in there, but then I looked at some of the stuff they put in there, man. I'm like, holy crap, man. They had like, all the black kids were, when they were youths, they had to eat with their hands from the trough, and half of them starved. And I was like, they're just making some stuff up. There's some freaking millennial yo-yo with I don't know, degree in psychology and fashion, just throws some crap out there, and they call it like accurate. Actually, if you want to look at what really happened in the South, there's two good sources. One is the slave narratives kept in the Library of Congress. There's 2,300 slave narratives. I know some people say, "Oh, it's inaccurate." Well, it's the best information you got. It was taken by Washington D.C. They weren't taken by some southern states or nothing. It was taken by Washington D.C. You can look up the slave narratives. You can see what the heck they say. The other thing is the request to the federal government for damages done by Sherman's March to the Sea from the war between the states, where Sherman destroyed all this stuff in the South. The Southerners try to get money, money back for horses that were taken, livestock that was destroyed, everything that was destroyed, right? And not inadvertently, but it's like the topic of these things was request to get reimbursement for damages, but hardly anyone got reimbursed. But in those requests, you could see a lot of what actually life was in the South. It's like they're not trying to tell you what life was about in the South, but you could actually find out a lot more about what life was in the South. Actually, after the war between the states, the relationships between the whites and the blacks got 100 times worse in the South. It wasn't even anywhere near as bad as what it was before. There was a lot of like different deals going on in different places if you really dig into it. What's going on today? The United States is going to get totally ripped apart, and it's not just these statues. It's like the whole thing's coming down, and they're looking to depopulate the world. Now, I think in the future, right now, they're pretty much using like they used the Black Panthers. Okay, Martin Luther King. yeah, I know he was a communist originally and all. He was a communist, right? I'm not a fan of this guy, but the major media needed him, and the powers needed him to push something in an agenda. Now, I know people don't quite see that, but he was actually, if you look at Martin Luther King's family or sons, they talked to the guy that killed him, and they believed that he was the assassin that really killed him. Didn't kill him; it was somebody else. I think Martin Luther King was just like with the Black Panthers in the 1960s. They were pushed ahead by the elite, but then once they got too big and they outlived their usefulness, they were done. And I see what's going to come up with the blacks in the future is that after your usefulness is over with, they're going to start advertising stuff like, black man kills white girl in cold blood or some shit and does all this stuff. And there's a lot of stories they could dig out on this stuff because it's like, I. I got theories on why this happens. I know some people say it's just race, but I also think it's nutrition. It's actually nutrition. I know the psychs will freaking tell you it's not nutrition because they like to drug the crap out of everybody. But I can tell you right now, a lot of stuff is nutrition. You will be a lot calmer and a lot more rational and getting along with people with the right nutrition. If one of the things the blacks got a big problem with is this. The black soul food, that kind of garbage. That shit is bad for your body and your mind, big time. But it's, you go vegan, you're cleared up more. It's actually like that with everybody, but actually, I don't know. It's a theory, but I got theories on a lot of shit. But the elite are not here to freaking keep everybody healthy and happy. That's for sure. So their game is to create as much conflict as possible to gain control. I'm not going to advertise this video or even try to because I don't know, it's not going to go nowhere. But also, just again, I just want to repeat to people that are YouTube producers, like I put stuff out on here about, yeah, I do think the South Carolina shooting was a setup. I think, I know 911 was a setup. I know the Oklahoma City bombing. There was a lot more involved in that because I knew that's going way back. The Boston bombing, 911, yeah, a lot of this stuff. I don't go too far down the conspiracy trail on a lot of these things, but there was, and when any time the major media says everything all the same damn thing, it's a setup. Now, the advertisers are the money that controls the major media are the advertisers, which control YouTube. Okay, so. But I really don't make money on these videos anyway per se. These Confederate videos because usually they're crappiest. They're the lowest paying advertisers going, man. They really are, man. Um, but I'm requesting reviews and stuff on a lot of them, So we'll see what the hell's going on. But you got to have 1,000 views right now to get. But it ain't even worth it that's logical because. But, the other thing is that I don't even know what the hell they do exactly with all this bullshit. But I can tell you right now, as a side note, even these people that are tearing down the statues in the schools and stuff, these are just like the dirtbag hippies of the boomer generation, which I definitely wasn't one of them. No way in hell. And in the future, they're probably going to be, the profit-seeking garbage. They went from I'm going to save the world, and I'm wearing a fringe leather jacket, and here's some incense, and I know everything, and my hair's long, and I smoke weed, and all this crap. You know what I mean? The type back in the 60s. And a lot of people do this just to sell you something else. They do this to make themselves, they do this because they jump on a bandwagon to make it feel good about themselves. In other words, they don't do anything constructive. Like, in other words, if there was a bunch of freaking litter or something on the campus, these people would be they wouldn't pick it up and clean up the campus or some crap like that, or go help somebody out or whatever, fix something. No, they're real quick to freaking make a big thing about tearing down the statue. But it's kind of funny that they, since they videoed themselves, they're probably all going to get slammed, and they deserve it because, well, we'll see. But obviously, it's not just Soros behind this crap. There's a lot of crap behind it. If you look at all the money that poured into the Clinton Foundation, That pretty much tells you who's behind this crap, right there. Um, and as far as the Clintons, I don't really mind Bill Clinton too much because he's just a good old boy going along with the flow. And a lot of Republicans are a bunch of crap. Donald Trump is about the best you can freaking hope for. Really, that's about what it is. Um, but I don't worship the guy, and like I said, I don't like being a person that worships one leader. No way in hell would I have taken Hillary Clinton. Um, the only candidate that I would have liked better than Donald Trump didn't get to stage one on a Democratic ticket. That would have been Jim Webb. Jim Webb was the former Secretary of the Navy. He was a former senator from Virginia. He was a highly decorated Vietnam veteran. I think he had a Silver Star. He's a Harvard Fellow, published books, and very educated and articulate. And he understood, you know, Washington, D.C. Maybe Trump would probably be better because he's got the charisma, but obviously the major media is out to get him, too. So, you know, sometimes I'm too critical on Trump because I don't really know where the hell he stands exactly. Um, Good thing I'm not president though, because I would probably call for an airstrike on Berkeley University. That's what I would do. Goodbye, Berkeley, man. And I'd be firing every single freaking cop out there that went along with the freaking stand down orders, if I could. I would be, because that's called selling out. But here's your strategy for you. Um, don't cooperate. I mean, if you got to do trade between on what do you call those swap meets or whatever the hell it is, Craigslist for buying items, and you know skip supporting your state, your local. I mean, I know the Confederacy is supposed to be about states' rights. I'm saying all the government, man. I mean, really, just start growing your own food. They'll tell you that's illegal too, but you know what I'm saying. You're gonna have to go bare bones, hands on, all the way, and then you're going to be able to fight them back. That's the only way. And I'm going to continue doing a lot of stuff on my channel, like how to do stuff. And, but I've been looking at this and I said to myself, boy, this was a setup. I already know it. Demolish the monuments is right here in this predictive programming BS, right? It's happening right now. Here's the sea of white people. You got the two black people with the umbrella. That's signifying, and I also even looked at Russia Today, which is supposed to be, against the American major media. Yeah, they're a bunch of freaking central control jerks too, man. They had some libtard on there freaking talking crap. And, I'm going to tell you, after they're done playing a game where they're like, the elite are playing sympathetic to the blacks and playing it. Oh yeah, this is all about slavery. What it wasn't. It was the Northerners didn't give a crap about slavery. They didn't fight to free the slaves. I guarantee you that. In 1861 to 65, it was all about other money for the railroads, subsidies, and stuff. But after they get done using, the blacks for their purposes, they're going to start playing games like this. I think this might be coming out later on. It might be 10 years from now, though. It ain't going to be coming out next year or the year after. They're going to start bringing out this stuff. And watch. Watch what happens. So, that's what I'm figuring, man. They use anybody and anything. It's all about absolute control. Anyway, stay independent-minded, and, if you're a millennial and you're going to college and you're seeing this kind of shit, stay the hell away from it. Because in the future, Generation Z is going to tell you you're a piece of crap, and they'll be identifying your entire generation with this, just like they identify my entire baby boomer generation with the hippies out there freaking trashing the campuses and protesting the Vietnam War and blah, 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 you know what I mean, doing nothing. I definitely wasn't one of those people. So anyway, over and out, and in YouTube, I know you're being told what the hell to do, but God. Anyway, we'll figure this out eventually. Anyway, over and out.